Heyo everyone, welcome back to Zodiac Reviews. I'm Zodiac Arden, and after last week we talked about trash I've seen over the past decade. We'll talk about all the delights I've seen in the past decade. And trust me, I'm glad to announce that I also have seen some good movies. Yeah, I know there are some good movies I've seen as well. Like last week, it will be top 15 instead of top 10. I rewatched all these movies except for one, which I will get to in a minute, or half an hour. And like last time, please don't forget to like the video if you haven't already, share the video if you haven't already, subscribe, and turn on the bell for notifications, and just let's get started straight off the bat. Same shit as last week, come on. Coming number 15 is Scream 5. Look, guys, I'm going a little bit longer on this one, but allow me, okay? I didn't want anyone else but Wes Craven to touch the Scream franchise, and yeah, he was dead. However, much to my surprise, this movie was decent. Undeniably flawed and very stupid in some areas, but decent. To sum the new movie up, it was a valiant effort, and it was easy to see that these directors were trying to make this work. Like every Scream, it has a very well done and suspenseful opening scene. That was a staple of the Scream that I was very pleased to see carried into this new film. Jenna Ortega and Mesa Barrera are great in their leads. You totally buy that these two are sisters reconnecting after they got separated. Some things regarding to Melissa Barrera's character were a little fanfiction-y to me, but we'll get into that later. It's well paced, it's well shot, the performances of the legacy cast is pretty damn good. David Arquette is especially great as Dewey this time around. Courtney Cox's Gale gets a badass moment towards the end. The humor was also hit and miss for me on the other end. Some of the moments that were supposed to be funny didn't even make a lot of sense to me. For example, more in the beginning, Dewey says to one of the characters, one of the first rules of survival is to never trust the love interest. The love interest was only the killer in the first film, so yeah, if this is a rule, or for that matter, if this rule would be never trust the loving film nerds, I get it. There's a character in this movie being killed in her front yard at broad daylight. What the hell? In two segments, Ghostface is attacking people in the hospital and except for the main character, there's nobody around. I'm sorry, but I've never seen a hospital so deserted in my goddamn life. Another thing that doesn't make any sense to me is that, and it felt so fanfiction for me, is that Sam Carpenter is supposed to be the daughter of Billy Loomis. Here's the problem. Look, I can't believe that Billy Loomis was cheating on Sydney. I can't buy that. But Billy Loomis is killed in 1996. This movie takes place 25 years later in 2021. With me so far? Good. Sam Carpenter left Woodsboro when she was 18 and came back 5 years later, what makes her 23. So how can she be his daughter? This is also a movie with two killers, the boyfriend and the best friend. The best friend seemed like a lame killer at first, but I did like how bad shit she got when she revealed herself. She reminded me a little bit of a female version of Stoops, there we go. But when she got the upper hand, she just crumbled like a little bitch and ruined all of her intimidation factor. By the way, can someone please explain to me how this scrawny ass little bitch killed Dewey? No, I'm not buying that. Like, this girl is so lightweight, Dewey can literally flick a finger and toss her across the damn room and she kills him? I'm sorry, but I'm not buying that at all. I also didn't like that Gil and Dewey were divorced in this film. But what I hated more at this point is that Dewey left Gil. Oh my god. Okay, guys, let me get one thing clear. Dewey would never leave Gil. As in regard for the boyfriend being the other killer. For those who have seen the movie, I got a question. What the hell was he gonna do when Sam told him to stay home when she went to Woodsboro? Like, no, back off. We have only been dating for like 6 months. You stay home. I'm going back to Woodsboro. What would he have done? Then false spot right there. I mean, you can make the argument he still follows her, but then it would be suspicious for him being there if she said to stay put. Okay? What would he have done if the sister fell asleep in the car and noticed the inhaler was gone when they were far out of time? Plan false spot right there. There is literally a scene where he pulls up the inhaler and says, "I can't believe this worked." You say it, buddy. Nobody thought that would work. That was asinine-like. Literally a million things had to go their way just for the shit to work. At number 14 with Beauty and the Beast 2017. Look, this movie has some issues. Like, and especially when it comes to slower pacing in the original, and Gaston being more feministic jackass than he was in the original, and that actually wasting a good actor with Luke Evans. Speaking of actors, I love the cast in this film. I mean, you have Emma Watson, Luke Evans, Dan Stevens, Ian McKellen, Stanley Tucci, Emma Thompson, and Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, Ewan McGregor. God damn it, this cast is great. The new song Evermore is also a great addition to the already stacked soundtrack this movie has. I mean, nothing can beat the original soundtrack, but that doesn't mean that this is not any good. I think they really set the mark with the real-life adaptation, and I think that only Aladdin came any close to this. When it comes to real-life adaptation, at least. So yeah, if you can see through the pacing issues, you'll have yourself actually a pretty decent time with it. At number 13 we have Beverly Hills Cop XLF. Guys, alright. Eddie Murphy is goddamn back, and I love to see that he hasn't changed a bit since with Axel Foley. He is still the big goofball of a cop he was back in the 80s and 90s. I actually only have 3 complaints with this entire movie. And one of them is a little nitpicking of my part, but okay, we're doing that right now. I didn't like that Rosewood was barely in the movie, and that Taggart turned a little in this sore bitch, because for a moment it really looked like he didn't even want to do his job and look for his old friend. I also don't believe that Axel has a daughter that is supposed to be 32 when this movie takes place 30 years after the first film. And before you guys go wild in the comments that they won't stop after the first film, they at least could have made Jane like 3 or 4 years younger, right? For the rest, the whole cast was brilliant, and it was good to see everyone back after such a long time, and they still had a great chemistry with each other again. Eddie Murphy, Judge Reynolds, John Ashton, Kevin Bacon, Taylor Page were all great in their roles, and I'm glad this movie came out because the whole franchise is just pure gold, really. Coming in number 12 is Solo, a Star Wars story. Guys, like I said in my Star Wars review, I think I have never seen a Star Wars movie this underrated as Solo. Because I think nobody's seeing it as they should see it. I enjoyed the movie because I didn't see it as a regular Star Wars movie. I saw it more as a sort of La Casa de Papel movie, but more Star Wars, okay? Yes, the Darth Maul cameo was unnecessary, and the backstabbing all around at the ending was a little bit unbelievable how it played out, but the movie overall isn't that bad at all. The film tells the story about Han Solo and his girlfriend Kira, by Kira, always played by the lovely Emilia Clarke, trying to leave their home planet of Corellia to have a better life. The plan doesn't work though, as they hoped for, when Kira gets captured at the last minute. When Han gets kicked out of the army and meets Chewbacca, who befriends him straight off the bat, the rest is history. We also get to see how Han meets Lando in this film and how he ends up with the Millennium Falcon. Trust me, I do hold this movie in higher regard than most of the Star Wars movies because it gave me something that I wanted for a long time. Han's backstory. You can hate this movie all you want, I enjoy it and I will die on that hill. At number 11 we have Ghostbusters Afterlife. Look, after the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot was unleashed upon the world and stocked up the theaters with its damn filth, I never thought I'd see the day where I got another good Ghostbusters movie. That reboot was such a miserable experience that not even the trailers for this reboot were swaying me over. However, I'm so happy to be wrong about it, because there are still things I didn't care for it. My biggest thing being the overuse of old concepts and villains. I also didn't buy the reason for why the original Ghostbusters broke up. That didn't really sit well with me. But this film has so much heart and passion behind it that those issues I have with the film are very easy to ignore. Jason Reitman did his father proud. Not only bring back the things we love about the original Ghostbusters, but also making the tone of this film his own. I never thought something like Ghostbusters would work as a drama about family and legacies, but kick me in the balls if this guy didn't prove me wrong. I love the way this movie looks. McKenna Grace's performance is just wonderful. That girl is going places, and the way this honors the memory of Harold Ramis, jeez, my god, that was great. Coming in number 10 is Blair Witch 2016. Look guys, let me get things straight. I didn't like the original Blair Witch Project. Yes, get over it, move on. Small side note, why not? It's boring, not scary in the slightest. It wants you to be scared of stick figures, piles of rocks, and a guy standing in a corner. And if you're scared of that, then I'm really concerned. And don't give me the argument that it's about what you don't see, because there's nothing to see. It's nothing to see there. Sorry, my own voice. There's nothing to see in that movie in general, and to top it all off, you have 3 bickering idiots that are too busy with a goddamn map. Trust me, CinemaSins, MadPat and Filmmaster Adam make jokes about it already, but enough about the original. The reason I like the 2016 reboot Seaboot, which will be a Seaboot? I know. Is because the characters are way more interesting compared to the original trio. All have a clear motives to be out in those woods to begin with, and oh yeah, the movie is actually fucking scary. And for all those people who say that it's a betrayal to the original because you see things in it, shove that argument in your goddamn asses, because those are only 2 moments in the movie that if you blink it, you miss it. And speaking of its characters and having a clear motive to be here in these woods, one is looking for a sister, one for her thesis film, 2 best friends for mutual support, 2 locals trying to unravel the legend of the Blair Witch. This movie is also better in its pacing because despite the original kept repeating itself, this movie kept building forward and kept drive on itself and didn't need any jump scares to be any scary, and even the 2 or 3 jump scares that were in it were fine for me, although I found them not really important. So yes, give this movie a watch if you haven't, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. Coming number 9 is the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Look, my only gripe with this film was that they did Luigi a little too dirty for my taste. I mean, God forbid we have the princess get captured in 2023. Oh fuck no! We can't have that shit, can we? Other than that though, the Super Mario Bros. Movie was pretty much perfect. The Mushroom King is perfectly realized, the animation is fantastic, and the voice acting is pretty damn good from everyone involved, especially from Jack Black as Bowser. There were not enough words in the English and Dutch language to describe how perfect that casting choice was. Coming number 8 is We Still Say Grace. I'm sure not a lot of people have heard of this film before, so quick recap, shall we? The movie is about a religious fanatic called Harold, who lives with his family in a more abandoned place. It already goes wrong there. After some people need help with their car, he offers to help them, not knowing that these people will be sacrificed by Harold in the name of God. Alright, the only thing I could not stand in this movie was the moment Harold took a bath with Sarah. Look, if I see molesting of any kind in any movie, I'll walk out of the room and come back when it's over. I mean, I'm not in for that. If I see something like that on screen, like in I Spit on Your Grave, I will not only look away, I leave and come back when it's over, because that just makes me sick. What I like so much about this film is that the tension is really there and the performance is really good. Bruce Davison is good as Harold, Dallas Hart is at least decent as Fisher, and don't get me started about Holly Taylor as Maggie. This girl steals the show with her performance like she would do later Manifest. I don't get the hate for her. She's a damn good actress. People love to hate about her for her role Angelina in Manifest, but even there she nailed it. She nailed Angelina, who is by far my favorite character on that show. And Maggie is here. After the group finds out that Harold lied to them, and when Luke is kicked out and gets poisoned, eliminated and dies of it, Harold decides it's time for the family to complete the suicide pact, alright I guess, to give Maggie and Sarah poisoned wine while he has no potion. Sarah willingly drinks it and dies. Maggie does not buy it and hides. And when Harold finally dies of a slash in his neck, at least Maggie got a happy ending I guess. Although not a perfect film, with like 2 moments that I thought pace was an issue. I did enjoy the movie enough to rewatch it anytime and recommend it to you guys if you haven't seen it already. And number 7 for me is Elvis. Let me get one thing straight. If you don't pay attention at the storyline mistakes they make just for movie and can watch this movie for like 2.5 hours, you have a good time. This movie pays much respect to the life of Elvis Presley, and you can see that in the performances that everyone cares for it. You have Tom Hanks as Colonel Parker, Olivia de Jonge as Priscilla, and Austin Butler as the king himself, Elvis Presley. And for everyone who's saying that Butler is miscast Elvis, shove those complaints straight down your asses, because they couldn't cast anyone better. His performance was pure perfection, and his chemistry with Tom Hanks was amazing. He prepared himself for like 3 years for this role, and it clearly shows. He got the voice, the moves, and although his voice was used later in the film, you cannot deny that Austin Butler tried to sing as much as Elvis Presley as he could, and it was damn good. This is a biopic that I will rewatch at any time, at any place, and under any circumstances. Coming in number 6 is It Chapter 2. Well guys, when I first saw this movie, I honestly wasn't too sure how to feel about it. My reaction was kind of mixed. but upon a rewatch with my stepbrother, I think this is one of the best Stephen King adaptations we have ever had. I will say this, if you're on the fence about it, watch it back to back with It Chapter 1. You will not be disappointed. Here we have the Losers Club reuniting, getting their memories back, and going back to Derry to stop Pennywise's reign of terror. The cast in this movie is perfect. You totally believe that these actors are the grown-up version of the kids of the first film. This is one of the best ensembles I've ever seen. Bill Skarsgård owns as Pennywise, riding a line between hilarious and frightening, but the surprise of this movie was Bill Hader as Rich Dozier. The movie gave his character so much more nuance and intrigue that he had in the original film or even in the book. Even Stephen King liked the changes with his character. There was a scene towards the end that had me bawling my eyes out pretty hard. He is screaming and crying for someone he obviously cared deeply for, and it's heart-wrenching. The movie is gorgeously shot, wonderfully acted, and wonderfully executed. Evidently the director was making a supercut of both films, and if he does, I am in with my ass on the seat. Bring that shit on. Coming in number 5. Now we're reaching the top movies, guys, don't worry. We're getting here. But coming in number 5 is Spiral. Everybody knows I love the Saw franchise, and Spiral is easily in my top 3 favorite films of this franchise. This movie took an ingenious spin on the series with the great social commentaries about the police force and police brutality, and it was able to get those messages across without beating me over the every fucking 10 minutes. Like some other crappy film I could mention. Fuck you, Candyman, you piece of shit. Sorry, something got stuck in my throat. Chris Rock and Sam Jackson are great in this film, the traps are creative, and even the voice on the tapes, which has garnered a lot of criticism from the fans, was effectively creepy despite the fact that it was different. Yeah, it's not Tobin Bell, but who the hell is? I thought this was a great way to bring Saw back after a hiatus, a great story with a great cast and a triumphant return of Daryl Lynn Bousman. This man returned to the director's chair, and honestly it felt like he never left. At number 4 we have Oppenheimer. Look, after Dunkirk put me to sleep and Tenet annoyed the crap out of me, I walked into Christopher Nolan's latest film with low expectations. The man had 2 bad films in a row after a string of near perfection films, and that's coming from someone who doesn't like The Dark Knight that much, but okay. And it seemed like the King's reign was over. But oh no. With Oppenheimer, Nolan showed us that the King was just resting up, cocksuckers. Oppenheimer was not only one of the best films of 2023, but possibly Christopher Nolan's best film to date. Again, that's a tough call because he has so many great movies under his belt, but damn, this was just fantastic. The movie chronicles the life of J. Robert Oppenheimer during and after his time in the Manhattan Project. Nolan has crafted a story about a man who wanted the world to be a better place, but in the end he felt he destroyed it. And that guilt is brilliantly portrayed by Cillian Murphy's performance. Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh and Josh Hartnett are great supporting cast. The music is brilliant, and the fact that not one visual effect exists is the entire film blows my mind. Yes, for everyone bitching about how Ant-Man 3 got nomination for special effects and this movie didn't, oh god, that's horrible. What is the Academy doing? Yeah, there needs to be special effects in order to receive a nomination for you jackwagons. Okay guys, so now we reach the top 3, and in all fairness, I did not expect, really did not expect this as the top 3. And that's especially coming for 2 movies. This movie is one of them. At number 3 with Marriage Story. Yeah, they never think I would in for this movie. And maybe only 3rd place, and when it comes to my number 1, you will get why, but I will say this. This movie is one of the most beautifully acted movies I've ever seen. I was seriously going back and forth with the top 3. And this is probably the hardest top 3 I've made. But this is probably the most honest depiction of divorce ever put to screen. The movie follows up a couple going through divorce while trying to make the situation less crappy for their son. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson are perfect. I can't even put to words how good these performances are. They are that damn good, and they both played each other off wonderfully. There's a scene where the 2 of them having an argument, and it got to a point where Adam Driver said something in anger, and my jaw just dropped. Not because it was uncomfortable as it should be, but because it was just honest. When you're going through a time of depression and heartache, which is normal in any divorce, you'll see and do things that you would never say under any other situation, and that you obviously don't mean. My parents divorced almost 20 years ago back, and this brought me back to that. Both of my parents said something to each other they didn't mean. So seeing something like that is depicted is not only so brilliant, but so damn honestly was so damn amazing to me. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, just for that one scene, both deserve the Oscar nominations. Noah Baumbach also deserves a consideration for his superb directing and writing. The movie is shot beautifully, it's written beautifully, it's acted beautifully, and this movie is a perfect drama that needs to be seen. And number 2 is John Wick. Look guys, it takes a lot to not make me put John Wick on number 1 on this list. If I don't have this movie or any other John Wick movie on the number 1 spot, that means the number 1 is for some reason just better. This movie is about an assassin called John Wick who got out of his life to live a happy, better life with his wife. After his wife died, he's brought back to the life he tried to leave behind after the son of his old Russian associate kills his dog and steals his car. He gears up, goes to Continental and shoots everyone to fucking pieces, which results in a melee fight with Viggo Tarasov. Guys, the cast in this movie could not be better as well. Keanu Reeves as John Wick, Ian McShane as Winston, Lance Reddick as Chiron, and Michael Nyqvist as Viggo Tarasov were all fantastic. I cannot. There are not enough words in Dutch and English language that can explain how good this movie is. Watch this if you haven't, you won't be disappointed, you know. After watching the first movie, watch all the other movies straight after. All 4 movies are great and are all actually debates on how action movies should be made today. Alright guys, coming in number 1. Well, let me get some backstory first. When I was making this list, I really believed that John Wick would top this list by a clear mile. But after watching this on Netflix, I had mixed feelings about it. And I had mixed feelings about it if I should watch it in general. Because I know some people, because this is a serious issue. And I thought this would be a typical Hollywood movie where everyone doesn't come up close to how it's really like, and I will burn the movie to the ground for it. Well guys, The Fault in Our Stars is probably one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen in my life. It's also probably the most honest depiction of illness ever put to screen. Like a Marriage Story, this movie plays its story so damn good and believable and realistic. The movie is about 2 teenagers with cancer with no hope on getting better, and who want to make the best of their lives with the time they have left. They finally fall in love and decide to go to Amsterdam to meet the author of the book they love so much. Guys, I cannot describe on how much every actor played their parts, because literally everyone played it with perfection. Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort played the leads in this movie as Hazel Grace Lancaster and August Waters, and they didn't only play their roles with perfection, they also had the great chemistry together and played each other off fantastically. You really buy every scene they are in. They both deserved an Oscar for their performance. And who also deserved an Oscar is Josh Bone, the director of this film. For the first time I can remember, made a movie better than its book counterpart. This movie deserves all the appreciation there is, because trust me, you won't find another movie done as well as this one. If you haven't seen this movie, you're doing yourself a great disservice, because I can go on and on all day and night about how much I love this movie, and it deserved every award it could have gotten. Well guys, that's it. I hope you guys liked this ranking. Please let me know what your top 15 was in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!